we're going to learn about multiplication properties of exponents. And our rule when we're multiplying a base raised to an exponent times a base raised to an exponent, and the bases are the same. So the bases are the same. We can actually multiply these and simplify to be the same base. The base does not change. We take the exponents and we add them. Let me show you by example. We have 5 squared times 5 to the 9th. 5 squared times 5 to the 9th. The base is the same. We keep the base. We add the exponents. So 5 squared times 5 to the 9th is 5 to the 11th power. Let me show you why that is. If I have 5 squared, that's 5 times 5, and then I multiply that. Here's 5 times 5, right? 5 times 5. And I'm going to multiply that by 5 to the 9th. So 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I believe that's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here's our 5 to the 9th right here. Here's our 5 to the 9th. Here's our 5 squared. Well, exponents are just repeated multiplication. So we've got a base of 5, and how many are there? There's 11 of them. So that is why this works in keeping the base and just adding the exponents. I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress it enough, because there will be a time where you try to change the base. Maybe not all of you, but there's someone out there that's going to want to change the base. The base stays the same. So we have 10 to the negative 2 times 10 cubed times 10 to the 7th. The base is the same, therefore we can keep that base and we can add the exponents. Negative 2 plus 3 plus 7. Negative 2 plus 3 plus 7 is 8. That's 10 to the 8th power. Let's try another one. This time we're going to use variables. X to the 0 times x to the 7th times x to the negative 1. Well, they all have the same base, so we're multiplying the same base. So we retain that base, and we add the exponents. So 0 plus 7 plus negative 1, which is 6. X to the 6th power. So that's the basics of the rule. I'm going to take this, and in a pretty pink, I'm going to bubble that. That's a great rule that maybe you could put on a note card. Now, here's some more examples. So let's do some more examples. Here's a different kind of example. We've got negative 3x squared times 4x to the 8th. Now, negative 3x squared means negative 3 times x squared, times 4x to the 8th means times 4 times x to the 8th. So this is multiplication of 4 different factors. I'm going to put the numerical factors up front, negative 3 times 4, and then I'm going to organize the variable factors and group them by their variable base. So x squared times x to the 8th. Well, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And x squared times x to the 8th, we retain the base and we add the exponents. 2 plus 8 is 10. So our answer is negative 12x to the 10th power. So negative 3x squared times 4x to the 8th is negative 12x to the 10th power. Let's try another one of those. 2xy squared times the quantity 3x cubed y to the 4th. Now this is a lot of multiplication, so I'm going to reorganize it. This is 2 times 3. So I've taken the coefficients, 2 times 3. And then the x's, I'm going to organize those next. So that's x to the first times x cubed. And then we'll have y squared times y to the 4th times y squared times y to the 4th. Now make sure that you recognize that x is the same thing as x to the first. And our answer is going to be 6 x to the 4th times y to the 6th. And that's our answer, 6x to the 4th, y to the 6th. Here's one for you to try. Negative a to the 6th, b cubed, times a squared, b to the negative 2. So go ahead and press pause, write that down, and come on back and check your answer. Okay, I made this a negative 1, so I made that negative a negative 1, and then a to the 8th, and then b to the first power. And then I simplify that by writing negative a to the 8th b. Negative a to the 8th b. That is our rule for multiplication. So let's just take this rule and kind of run with it. We'll do a few more examples, try and make them a little bit more challenging for you. So let's give you some tries. We'll see if we can challenge you. Now, if you make a mistake, that's okay, because when you make mistakes, that's when you're learning. You also learn by using your notes. So you can look back at your notes and see how to do this problem. See if you can try this one. If not, you can follow along with me. But I encourage you to try it and then come back. Okay, this is a lot of multiplication. We have negative 5 times x to the 7th times y to the negative 3 times 2 times x to the negative 4 times y times 3 times x to the 0 times y to the cube, y to the 3rd power. So I'm going to start with the coefficients. Negative 5 times 2 times 3. So negative 5 times 2 times 3. Then we're going to go to the x's. X to the 7th, x to the negative 4th, x to the 0. X to the 7th, x to the negative 4, x to the 0. And then we've got y to the negative 3, y to the 1st, y to the positive 3, y to the negative 3, y to the 1st, y to the positive 3. Negative 5 times 2 times 3 is negative 30. Our x's, 7 plus negative 4 plus 0 is 3. And our y's, negative 3 plus 1 plus 3 is 1. So our final answer is negative 30 x cubed y. And that's our final answer. Okay, so hopefully with that little bit of instruction, you feel more comfortable now doing this problem. Remember to write your z's with a little line through them. I am very serious about that. And I'll know if you've watched this video because you'll be putting your lines through your z's. If you don't put the lines through the z's, you've either 1, not watched the video, or number 2 have ignored my request that you do that. Okay, go ahead and press pause, try this problem, and then come back and check your answer. And the answer is positive 4 x to the 7th y times z to the 7th. Now, if you only have this answer written down on paper and you didn't show your work, then you didn't really do the problem. Try to make sure that you are showing all your work, because you can find mistakes when you show your work. Okay, here's one last try. One last try. Let's see if you can get this one. Let's see if you can get this one. Go ahead and press pause and then come back. Now, if you are back and you got negative 5, x to the negative 2, y to the 7th, you have to go one step further. You need to write your answers. Always write your answers with positive exponents only. With positive exponents only. So our final answer would be negative 5y to the 7th over x to the 2nd power. So that concludes our introduction on multiplication properties. Our next lesson is going to be on more multiplication properties. So our next lesson, we will work with more multiplication properties. Here's a glance. More multiplication properties. See, it says it right there at the top. More multiplication properties. So that's where we're going. We're going to be working on more of what we're doing. So getting the practice in is very, very, very important. This way you can build on that. You have a nice, strong foundation. Moving forward, we're going to build on a great foundation, which is going to give you lots of strength.